There comes a moment in life when everything feels too heavy, when the walls of your own reality start closing in. I remember sitting in that tiny one-bedroom apartment in California, surrounded by bills, noise, and a dream that felt galaxies away. Every morning felt the same. Coffee, work, worry, repeat. It was like watching my life happen from behind a glass wall, close enough to touch, but impossible to change. We were living paycheck to paycheck, my partner and I, holding on to a dream we couldn't quite see anymore. I kept telling myself, there has to be more than this. But the louder that voice became, the quieter my hopes seemed to grow. Until one day, it wasn't just a thought, it was a decision. I had stumbled across something that would change everything. Quantum manifestation. At first, I didn't even know what it really meant, but something about it felt true. It wasn't just about wishing or hoping. It was about becoming the version of myself who already had everything I wanted, and living from that energy. So I started small. Every day I began to write my dream life, as if it were already real. Not I will have, but I have. Not someday, but today. I am living in my 3-bedroom home in the jungle, walking barefoot on hardwood floors, sipping tea as the morning light spills through the trees. I can feel the humidity in the air, the sound of birds in the distance, the smell of rain on leaves. As I wrote, something inside me shifted. It felt like I was reaching across timelines, pulling a piece of that reality into this one. And the more I wrote, the more real it began to feel. It wasn't an escape. It was a remembering of who I really was and what I was capable of. Little did I know, that single decision, to believe, would start a chain of events that would transform everything. When I first heard about quantum manifestation, it sounded like something out of a sci-fi movie. A theory that your thoughts could change your reality, that your energy could shape matter. But what if it was true? What if my world was just responding to who I was being, not what I was doing? That question lit something inside me, and I decided to test it. For 30 days straight, I made a promise to myself. I would script my dream life every single day, as if I was already living it. No skipping, no doubting, no half-hearted effort. Every word, written with emotion, every sentence, a declaration of a new reality. Each morning, I'd sit down with my journal, take a deep breath, and start writing in the present tense. I am free. I am abundant. I am living my dream life. I described every detail, the sound of the jungle, the warmth of tropical air, the smell of fresh rain, the feeling of peace. It wasn't about forcing it, it was about feeling it. After writing, I'd put on music, songs that made me feel alive. And as the rhythm moved through me, I'd visualize every single thing I had written. Not just see it, live it. When I went for runs, I didn't just run. I embodied my future self, the one who already had it all. I could feel her confidence, her joy, her freedom pulsing through my body. And slowly, something magical started to happen. My thoughts began to shift. My energy began to rise. And life started responding differently. It was like the universe could finally recognize me, because I had stopped waiting and started being. Every word became a vibration, every visualization a frequency, and I realized the secret isn't about manifesting something out there, it's about aligning with it in here. That's when the first signs began to appear. At first, it was subtle. Little things, moments that felt like whispers from the universe. A song on shuffle that spoke directly to what I had written that morning. A number that kept repeating, 2 and 22, 555, 9 and 99, like a cosmic breadcrumb trail leading me somewhere new. And even though nothing had changed on the outside, I could feel something transforming inside. My energy was lighter, my vision clearer. For the first time, I felt in sync, like my heart and the universe were finally in rhythm. Then it started. One morning, my partner walked in, eyes wide, phone in hand. He had just received a message about a job offer in Amsterdam. Not the tropical paradise I had written about, but it was movement, change, proof that something was shifting. We looked at each other and just laughed. This was it. The sign we had been waiting for. Within weeks, we were preparing to leave California. Packing boxes, selling things, closing the chapter we had outgrown. But even as we planned for Amsterdam, I couldn't stop writing about the tropics, the warmth, the ocean, the humidity. My heart just knew. Every night, I'd sit with my journal, light a candle, and write. I'm living in my home surrounded by jungle. I can hear the rain on the roof. I'm so grateful I followed my intuition. Even when life looked uncertain, I kept visualizing the same scene, the same feeling. And that's the thing about quantum manifestation. Reality doesn't always unfold the way you expect. It unfolds the way you believe. So even when Amsterdam felt like the answer, I knew deep down it wasn't the final destination. Something bigger was coming, and I could feel it. Every time I saw those repeating numbers, every time I wrote, every time the universe whispered, keep going. Because what happened next would prove that the universe listens more closely than we think. Everything was moving fast. We were ready to leave California, ready for a new life in Amsterdam. Our bags were half packed, our hearts full of hope. It felt like the universe had opened a door and said, "See, you asked, and I listened." But then, just as quickly, that door closed. The offer was retracted. No reason that made sense. Just gone. I remember staring at my phone in silence, my chest tight, trying to make sense of it. Had I done something wrong? Was this the universe taking it all back? All the journaling, all the visualizing, suddenly it felt like it meant nothing. That night, I cried harder than I had in months. Everything I'd built my faith on felt like it was crumbling. But here's the thing about manifestation no one tells you. The universe doesn't test you to punish you. It tests you to see if you're ready. And deep down, I knew I had a choice, to collapse back into fear or to stand taller in faith. So even through the tears, I picked up my pen. I wrote anyway. I am grateful for my dream home in the jungle. I trust that everything is aligning perfectly for me. It wasn't easy. Some days, those words felt empty. But I kept writing them. Not because I could see the path, but because I could feel the promise. I started running again, plugging in my headphones, closing my eyes, and visualizing the same life. Warmth, greenery, peace. I reminded myself, reality bends to vibration, not logic. And then, almost out of nowhere, a new message appeared. Another opportunity, this time, on the Gold Coast of Australia. My heart skipped. It wasn't the same offer. It wasn't even the same continent. But somehow, it felt right. We said yes. And in that moment, I realized the universe hadn't said no. It had said, not that way. Because sometimes, losing what you thought you wanted is the only way to make space for what you truly asked for. The day I said yes to Australia, it felt like a door opened inside my chest. Not the loud kind of excitement, but a calm knowing. Like my soul whispered, this is the one. My partner flew over first, staying with family while I closed our chapter in California. I sold my car, let go of my business, packed my entire life into 6 boxes and said goodbye to the only home I'd ever known. Every step felt like walking into the unknown, but also somehow like going home. The plane touched down in Australia, and as I stepped into that warm, tropical air, my body exhaled in a way it hadn't in years. The humidity, the smell of the ocean, the sound of cicadas, it was all familiar, like the pages of my journal had come to life. We didn't have a place to live yet. For weeks, we moved from Airbnb to Airbnb, sometimes on the coast, sometimes deeper in the green. It was uncomfortable, yes, but I kept trusting. Every morning, I'd wake up early, open my notebook, and write, I am living in my home surrounded by jungle. The floors are hardwood. The light spills through the trees. I sip my tea and breathe in gratitude. I didn't know when or how, but I knew it was coming. Then one afternoon, while scrolling through listings, we saw it. A house in the jungle. 3 bedrooms. Hardwood floors. Exactly what I had written, almost word for word. We booked an inspection immediately. The moment I walked through the door, I froze. The smell of the wood, the light through the windows, the sound of the rainforest outside. I could barely speak. Tears just filled my eyes. This was it. The home I had written about every day for 30 days, the vision that had carried me through my darkest moments, was real. But there was a catch. Dozens of people had already applied to rent it. Our chances were slim. Still, I kept imagining us living there, unpacking our boxes, cooking dinner, watching the rain through the windows. I said out loud, "This is our home. Thank you, thank you, thank you." That night, as I went for a run, I saw the number 777 flash across a passing car's license plate. I smiled. I knew what that meant. Alignment. And then, a few days later, we got the call. They chose us. I dropped the phone, covered my face, and cried. Not from surprise, but from pure recognition. Because I had seen this moment 100 times before. Every word I wrote had already created it. Within 6 months, I was living the exact reality I had scripted, every detail, every feeling, every blessing. And standing there, barefoot on the hardwood floors of my jungle home, I realized something that changed me forever. We are not waiting for miracles. We are the miracle. Sometimes I stand on the balcony of our home, surrounded by the sounds of the jungle, and I think back to that small apartment in California, the stress, the doubt, the uncertainty, and I realize nothing outside of me truly changed until I did. It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was alignment. Quantum manifestation taught me that reality is not something we chase. It's something we tune into. We don't attract what we want. We attract who we are. When I began scripting, I wasn't just writing words. I was reprogramming my identity. Every I am was a declaration to the universe. This is who I choose to be. And the universe always responds to identity, not intention alone. So many of us live as if our dreams are far away, waiting for the right time or the perfect conditions. But the truth is, the version of you who has everything you desire already exists. Right now, in another vibration. All you have to do is meet them. The real power isn't in wishing, it's in embodying. Feeling gratitude before the proof, feeling peace before the outcome. That's what rewires reality. When you do that consistently, when you become the energy of what you seek, life has no choice but to rearrange itself around you. And yes, there were hard days when I questioned everything, but those moments taught me the deepest truth of all. Faith is not the absence of fear, it's moving forward despite it. I learned to trust that even the detours were divine, that sometimes what feels like rejection is actually redirection, and that every no is making space for a far bigger yes. Now every time I see repeating numbers, 555, 999, 777, I smile. Not because they're magic in themselves, but because they remind me the universe is always speaking, and when you align with your truth, it speaks in miracles. Even now, sitting here in my dream home, surrounded by the sounds of the rainforest, I know the journey isn't over. Because manifestation doesn't end with one miracle, it evolves with you. After everything that unfolded, from scripting in California to waking up in my jungle home, I found myself standing at the edge of a new chapter. This time, it's not about moving countries or finding a house. It's about stepping into my purpose. I'm now manifesting my next reality. A job that lights me up, that feels aligned with my soul. And just like before, the lessons whisper the same truth. Trust. Trust the timing. Trust the waiting. Trust the invisible threads weaving something perfect behind the scenes. Some days, I still feel the pull of doubt, that quiet voice asking, what if it doesn't work this time? But then I remember, I've already lived this miracle once. I've seen proof with my own eyes. So I breathe, pick up my pen, and write again. I am grateful for the work that fulfills me, the opportunities that find me, the abundance that flows easily to me. And just like before, I feel the shift, subtle yet certain, because every word we write in faith sends ripples through the fabric of reality. To everyone watching this, if you're in that place of waiting, if you're writing and wondering whether anyone or anything is listening, don't stop. Keep writing. Keep visualizing. Keep believing, even when there's no sign of progress, because that's when the magic is building momentum, quietly, powerfully, behind the curtain of what you can see. You are not just a participant in your life. You are its architect, its creator, its vibration. And if my story proves anything, it's this. When you match the energy of what you desire, it has no choice but to find you. So as I step into my next quantum leap, manifesting purpose, fulfillment, and abundance, I invite you to step into yours, trust the unseen, act as if it's already done, and watch how the universe bends in your favor, because your dream life isn't waiting somewhere far away. It's waiting inside of you, right now.